Hi, Dr. Dave here to cover generally recommended best practices for the stroke. Before I begin, I want to be clear that as long as a stroke is accurate and consistent with both direction and speed, it is a good stroke. Even if you pump your stroke with a loose wrist like Francisco Bustamante, or use a sidearm stroke with lots of body English like Keith McCready, or use a short, punchy stroke with unnecessary elbow motion like Alan Hopkins, or have a bent and locked wrist like John Schmidt. All these players are accurate and consistent, and that's all that really matters, so there would be no reason for them to change. However, if you have trouble with stroke consistency or accuracy, it might help to try to incorporate some of the following stroke best practices into your game. I will assume you are already in a good stance after a purposeful pre-shot routine. If you need help with these things, see the links in the video description. In the set position, with the tip close to the cue ball, the forearm should be perpendicular to the cue with the cue as level as possible. The forearm should also be in a vertical plane. This will make it easier to stroke straight. With the cue still and the tip close to the cue ball, carefully check visual alignment, cue direction, and tip position. This is easier with a low stance with the chin as close to the cue as possible. Before moving the cue, make sure everything looks good by slowly moving your eyes between the cue ball and object ball, giving your eyes time to focus on each. Now take several slow warm-up strokes to ensure you are relaxed and settled, and to test that your aim remains true during stroke motion. You can also judge the stroke length you want based on the desired shot speed. It is recommended you keep your eyes focused on the cue ball during the warm-up strokes to make sure you don't contact the cue ball by mistake. After the warm-up strokes, recheck the cue alignment and tip position with the cue still before committing to the final stroke. Now shift and lock your eye gaze from the cue ball to your ghost ball or contact point target. Give your eyes time to settle before starting the final stroke. Smoothly and slowly pull back the cue and pause, even if only for an instant, at the end of your backstroke. The backstroke length should generally be shorter for softer shots and longer for power shots. Be very careful to have a smooth and non-rushed transition between the final backstroke and forward stroke. If you have trouble with this, it can help to add a deliberate pause at the end of your backstroke. A jerky transition like this can create unwanted body motion and stroking errors. Again, go back slow and don't rush the transition. Keep the grip relaxed during the entire stroke. Tightening the grip can lead to poor tip contact point accuracy. And tightening your entire arm can cause the cue to lift. Again, keep your grip and arm relaxed during the stroke if you want to hit the cue ball where you are aiming. Be sure to accelerate smoothly into the cue ball and follow through. This will help make your stroke more accurate and consistent, and you will have better speed control. Some people refer to this whole process as having good timing. If you rush the backstroke or transition, or decelerate during the stroke into the cue ball, or constrain the follow-through, you have bad timing, and you will not have good speed control. If you want to be accurate with tip contact point on the cue ball, you should keep the elbow still during the stroke into the cue ball. If you drop your elbow, you won't hit the cue ball at the height you expect. It is actually okay to drop the elbow if you can drop it straight and do so mostly after the hit. One problem with elbow drop for some people is that other bad things often come with it, like wrist turn and chicken wing sideways motion. The recommended type of stroke is called a pendulum stroke, where the shoulder and elbow remain still. If you accelerate into the cue ball, the cue will follow through naturally. This is sometimes called finishing the stroke. Even with a straight draw shot where the cue ball will come back, you have plenty of time to get the cue out of the way after finishing the stroke. If you decelerate or slow down during the stroke into the cue ball, you will not have good speed control. Could you tell that I decelerated and failed to finish the stroke? Okay, I lied. There are 11 best practices, not 10. Be sure to freeze after your stroke, keeping your head, body, arm, and cue still and down well after impact. Don't lift up and turn your head to watch the object ball like this. And don't lift your body up on the shot either. Be a relaxed statue during and after the shot. Some people ask, why do I need to stay down and still if the ball is already gone? The reason is, if you stay down and still after the shot, there is no way you will move during the shot, which can cause problems. Remember, for best results, be a relaxed statue during and after the hit. In the video description, there is a link to a stroke best practices document that concisely summarizes everything in this video. Also linked are other useful supporting resources and other videos from which footage was borrowed for this video. Be sure to check out the supporting resources if you want more help with your fundamentals. Finally, if you want to learn by watching top players with excellent best practices technique, watch and study match videos with Allison Fisher, Chang Jung Lin, Chris Melling, Eklent Kashi, and Tyler Steyer. These players exhibit most of the best practices summarized in this video. Good luck with your game from Dr. Dave.